Imagine waking up tomorrow with the ability to erase any memory you choose. That embarrassing moment from high school. Gone. That cringe-worthy text you sent last night. Poof. The entire plot of that movie you watched but wish you hadn't. Vanished. Welcome to What If Horizons, where we dive into the absurd, the impossible, and the downright weird. Today, we're exploring a question that could change everything. What if we could erase memories at will? Let's start with the obvious. This would be the ultimate party trick. Forget juggling or card tricks. Imagine showing up to a gathering and casually mentioning you've deleted your memory of ever meeting someone. Instant mystique. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. The implications of memory erasure go far beyond impressing your friends at happy hour. First, think about relationships. Breakups would become complicated. Instead of awkwardly avoiding your ex at the grocery store, you could just delete them from your brain entirely. No more late-night crying sessions, no more overanalyzing their Instagram posts. Just a clean slate. Of course, this raises the question: if you erase all memories of someone, did they even exist? Are you just one deletion away from becoming a walking existential crisis? Then there's the workplace. Imagine being able to forget that terrible meeting where your boss droned on for hours about synergy and paradigm shifts. Bliss. But what if your boss could erase your memory of it? Suddenly, you're stuck in a loop of the same terrible meeting, forever. Memory erasure could either be the ultimate productivity hack or the most dystopian corporate tool ever invented. And let's not forget the legal system. Forget plea bargains. Why not just erase the criminal's memory of committing the crime? Sure, it sounds like a sci-fi courtroom drama, but it raises some serious ethical questions. If someone can't remember doing something wrong, are they still responsible? Are we erasing memories or rewriting morality? Now, let's talk about the personal implications. Imagine being able to delete traumatic experiences. PTSD, gone. Childhood trauma, erased. But here's the catch. Our memories, even the painful ones, shape who we are. If you start deleting the bad stuff, are you still you? Or are you just a carefully curated version of yourself, like a social media profile but for your brain? And then there's the darker side. What if someone else could erase your memories without your consent? Imagine waking up one day and realizing chunks of your life are missing. Did you forget them, or did someone make you forget them? Memory erasure could become the ultimate tool for manipulation, gaslighting on a whole new level. Of course, there's also the practical side. How would this even work? Would it be like deleting files on a computer, or more like scribbling over a page in a notebook? Would there be a recycle bin for memories, or would they be gone forever? And what happens if you accidentally delete something important, like where you left your keys or your best friend's birthday? The possibilities are endless, and so are the questions. What if we could erase memories at will? Would it be a gift, a curse, or both? Stick around as we dive deeper into this mind-bending topic. Trust me, it's worth remembering. Now let's consider the absurd logistics of memory erasure. Picture this. You're standing in line at the memory erasure clinic, sandwiched between someone trying to forget their karaoke performance and another person desperate to unsee their parents' private dance at a wedding. The receptionist sighs for the 10th time that hour while explaining their strict, no refunds, policy on forgotten memories. The actual process would probably be less elegant than we imagine. Instead of some sleek sci-fi machine, it's just a stressed-out technician named Greg muttering, "Okay, we're gonna try this again," as you recall that time you accidentally called your teacher, Mom, for the 3rd time today. There'd be different pricing tiers too, paying extra to target specific memories while the budget option just blasts random chunks of your childhood away. Think about the social chaos. Relationships would become minefields. You forgot our anniversary. No, I paid to forget our anniversary. There's a difference. People would weaponize selective amnesia. Oh sorry, I erased my memory of you asking me to help you move. Entire new industries would emerge. Memory backup services, black market memory smugglers, therapists specializing in, why did I think deleting that was a good idea? The entertainment industry would collapse. Why bother watching bad movies when you can just experience them fresh every time? Imagine paying to see the same plot twist over and over, chasing that first time high like some kind of narrative junkie. Spoiler culture would become meaningless. Darth Vader as Luke's walk. Hold on, let me delete that real quick. Education would get weird. Students would play memory roulette. Do I keep calculus or my 7th birthday party? Teachers would have to constantly re-explain concepts to pupils who keep nuking their knowledge to avoid tests. As I was saying for the 4th time this semester, mitochondria are the powerhouse of the. Even simple conversations would become treacherous. Remember that time we, nope, deleted it. Awkward pauses would multiply as people try to recall if they're supposed to remember something or not. The phrase, "I forgot," would lose all meaning when it could either be an apology or a bizarre flex. And let's not forget the existential horror of memory hoarders, those people clinging to every cringeworthy moment like emotional pack rats. They'd become the eccentric historians of our time, the only ones who remember why we all agreed never to mention the Great Office Microwave Incident of 2023. The psychological impact would be staggering. Without embarrassing memories to keep us humble, we'd all become insufferable. Imagine a world where no one learns from their mistakes because they just keep deleting them. The human race would be like that one friend who keeps dating the same terrible person but swears, this time it's different. Memory erasure might promise freedom from pain, but it could trap us in an endless cycle of repeating the same errors. After all, those who forget the past are doomed to, wait, what were we talking about again? Let's dive into the bizarre world of memory erasure marketing. Picture the ads. Forget your ex in just 3 sessions. Satisfaction guaranteed or your misery refunded. There'd be jingles so catchy they'd make you want to delete them immediately. Billboards would line highways with slogans like, "Bad memories. We'll make them disappear faster than your will to live on a Monday morning." The competition between memory erasure companies would be fierce. One brand would promise precision deletion with their patented Memory Scalpel 3000, while their competitor would offer budget-friendly memory wrecking ball services, less precise, but hey, it gets the job done. There'd be constant lawsuits over false advertising. You promised I'd forget my high school musical audition, but I still remember every note of Summer Nights. Loyalty programs would take on a whole new meaning. Earn points for every memory erased, redeem them for premium services like selective memory enhancement or trauma-free dream packages. The black market would thrive, offering unauthorized, back-alley brain wipes for those who can't afford the legit services. $5 and I'll make you forget this ever happened. Celebrity endorsements would be everywhere. Imagine your favorite actor staring solemnly into the camera. "I used to remember every bad review of my movies. Now, thanks to Memory Be Gone, I'm blissfully unaware of my entire filmography." Influencers would make sponsored content about their memory detox journeys, complete with before and after shots of their mental clarity. The legal system would have to adapt quickly. Memory erasure contracts would be longer than a Tolstoy novel, filled with clauses like, client acknowledges that forgetting their wedding day may result in accidentally remarrying their ex. Privacy laws would become a nightmare. What happens if a memory erasure technician accidentally peeks at your most embarrassing moments? Medical ethics would face unprecedented challenges. Should doctors be allowed to erase memories of pain without patient consent? What about parents erasing their children's memories of punishments? The line between helpful and harmful would blur faster than a deleted memory. And then there's the question of authenticity. If you can curate your memories, are you still being true to yourself? Or are you just creating a highlight reel of your life, complete with deleted scenes? The phrase, "living in the moment," would take on a whole new meaning when you can decide which moments get to stay. Memory erasure might promise a cleaner, happier mind, but at what cost? Would we become a society of walking blank slates, forever chasing the next forgettable experience? Or would we find a way to balance our past with our present, embracing both the good and the bad? As we continue to explore this strange new world, remember this: every memory, no matter how painful, is a thread in the tapestry of who we are. Delete too many, and the whole thing might just unravel. The dating scene would become a surreal circus with memory erasure in the mix. Imagine swiping left on someone only to realize they've already swiped left on you 3 times. They just keep deleting the memory and starting fresh like some kind of romantic Groundhog Day. Dating profiles would need disclaimers. May have erased previous encounters with you, no offense intended. First dates would require signed affidavits confirming both parties agree not to memory wipe the experience afterward. The ultimate rejection wouldn't be ghosting, it's hearing, "I'm going to professionally delete this evening from my brain now." Breakup lines would evolve. It's not you, it's me, specifically my decision to remove all memories of you from my hippocampus. Relationships would develop bizarre new rituals. Couples might celebrate memory anniversaries, the day they chose not to erase that big fight. Premarital counseling would include memory alignment sessions to ensure partners aren't deleting important shared experiences. The new relationship ultimatum wouldn't be, delete your dating apps, but delete your memory deletion app. The marriage industry would boom and bust simultaneously. Why stay married when you can just keep erasing the bad parts? Wedding vows would need updates. Do you promise to remember this, for better or worse, until deletion do us part? Divorce lawyers would have to subpoena memory banks as evidence, while shady ones might offer discrete memory adjustments to help clients' cases. Cheating would take on new dimensions when you can literally forget your indiscretions. The classic, "I don't remember that person" excuse might actually be true. Marriage therapists would need lie detectors that work on memory gaps. The phrase, "what they don't know won't hurt them," becomes terrifyingly literal. Long-term couples might develop memory debt, all those small irritations and grudges they chose to remember rather than erase, creating emotional compound interest. The most romantic gesture becomes not flowers or chocolates, but saying, "I kept that memory of you snoring even though it was annoying, because it's part of who you are to me." Family dynamics would warp in strange ways. Parents could erase memories of their children's tantrums, but would that make them better parents or just oblivious ones? Teenagers would trade allowance money for parental amnesia treatments after coming home past curfew. Holiday gatherings would require memory waivers. By attending this Thanksgiving, you agree not to erase Aunt Karen's political rants. The very concept of forgiveness would change when you can simply delete the offense. Would reconciliation lose its meaning if no one remembers the original conflict? We might become emotionally stunted, never learning to work through problems because it's easier to neuralize them away. In this world of curated recollections, the most radical act of love might be choosing to remember the good, the bad, and the embarrassingly human moments in between. After all, a relationship built only on perfect memories isn't a relationship at all, it's a carefully constructed fiction. The messiness we try to forget might be exactly what makes connection real. Now let's examine how memory erasure would completely reshape the workplace. Picture performance reviews where your boss casually mentions they've deleted all memories of your mistakes from last quarter, but somehow still remember every time you were 2 minutes late. Office politics would reach new heights when Karen from accounting can selectively forget she promised to help with your project, while perfectly recalling every favor you owe her. The job interview process would become a psychological minefield. Candidates might pay to erase bad interviews from recruiters' minds, while companies could discreetly remove memories of promising applicants who turned down offers. The phrase, "we'll keep your resume on file," takes on ominous new meaning when they literally can. Human resources departments would need memory compliance officers to ensure no one's tampering with harassment complaint recollections. Corporate training would face existential challenges. Why bother remembering procedures when you can just wipe and relearn them annually? New employees might discover they're actually rehires who erased their entire work history after the last holiday party incident. The office veteran isn't wise from experience, they just never bothered to delete anything. Productivity hacks would get weird. Imagine memory sprints, where workers erase all distractions to hyperfocus for hours, only to realize they forgot why they were working in the first place. The work-life balance debate shifts to, how many personal memories are you willing to sacrifice for that promotion? Time management gurus would sell courses on strategic forgetting to maximize efficiency. The legal implications would keep employment lawyers busy. Is it wrongful termination if they make you forget you were ever hired? Can you sue for wages lost during memories you chose to erase? Union contracts would need clauses about mandatory memory retention for safety training and workplace rights. Whistleblower protections become meaningless if companies can simply remove the memories of wrongdoing. Entrepreneurs would exploit this new frontier. Startups would offer professional persona packages, curated sets of work memories to make you appear more experienced. Freelancers might sell memories of completed projects to competitors. The gig economy evolves into a memory economy, where your most valuable asset isn't time or skills, but recollections you're willing to part with. Office culture would transform in unsettling ways. Watercooler gossip becomes unreliable when participants keep editing their stories. Team building exercises focus on creating shared memories no one is allowed to delete. That weird inside joke your department has. It's actually on its 12th iteration because people keep erasing the origin story. The most successful employees might be those who embrace perfect recall, the memory hoarders who become living archives of institutional knowledge. In a world where everyone else is constantly resetting, the person who remembers becomes both invaluable and terrifying. They're the ones who know what really happened at the 2025 Christmas party, and why we don't talk about the karaoke machine anymore. Ultimately, the workplace might split into two camps: those who use memory erasure to escape workplace stress, and those who weaponize perfect recall for career advancement. The rest of us would be stuck in the middle, never quite sure what we're supposed to remember, what we chose to forget, and what memories might have been taken from us without consent. Education would face its own memory erasure revolution. Imagine students paying to forget entire semesters of calculus, only to realize they need it for their next class. Teachers would struggle with classrooms full of kids who've deleted yesterday's lesson but somehow remember every episode of their favorite show. The phrase, "this will be on the test," takes on new urgency when students can simply erase the test from their minds afterward. Homework would become a battleground. Parents might erase memories of helping with assignments to avoid accusations of cheating, while kids could delete evidence of procrastination. The classic, "my dog ate my homework" excuse evolves into, "my brain ate my homework." Teachers would need memory verification software to confirm students actually did the work they claim to remember doing. School administrators would face ethical dilemmas. Should they allow memory erasure of traumatic bullying incidents, or preserve them as evidence? Could students delete memories of disciplinary actions? The school yearbook becomes a crucial memory backup when half the graduating class can't recall their own prom. College admissions would get even more cutthroat. Applicants might erase memories of bad grades or failed extracurriculars, while admissions officers could delete recollections of promising candidates who chose other schools. The campus tour industry would boom as students try to create memorable first impressions that stick. Academic integrity would be nearly impossible to enforce. Plagiarism cases would hinge on whether students genuinely forgot they copied someone else's work. Research fraud could be concealed by simply erasing the incriminating data from everyone's minds. Peer review becomes a memory verification process rather than a quality check. The concept of lifelong learning takes on new meaning when you can delete outdated knowledge to make room for new information. Retraining for career changes becomes as simple as erasing your old job skills and downloading new ones. The downside: you might accidentally delete something important, like how to drive or operate a microwave. Teachers would need to adapt their methods. Lesson plans would focus on creating unforgettable experiences rather than rote memorization. The most valuable educators become those who can make knowledge stick, whether through innovative teaching or sheer force of personality. Pop quizzes become memory tests rather than knowledge checks. Educational institutions would face existential questions. What's the point of a degree if graduates can just erase everything they learned? How do you measure educational outcomes when memories are constantly being edited? The value of a diploma becomes less about what you know and more about what you choose to remember. Students themselves would grapple with identity issues. If you delete all memories of your high school years, are you still the same person? The pressure to curate perfect memories of youth could lead to a generation of students constantly second-guessing their own experiences. The college essay becomes less about recounting your life and more about justifying which parts you chose to keep. In this new educational landscape, the most successful learners might be those who embrace imperfection, the ones who keep their embarrassing mistakes and failed experiments as reminders of how far they've come. After all, education isn't just about acquiring knowledge, it's about the journey of growth and discovery. And sometimes, the most important lessons are the ones we'd rather forget. The justice system would be turned upside down in a world of memory manipulation. Imagine a courtroom where witnesses can't be trusted because their testimony might be a carefully curated selection of preserved memories. Defense attorneys would argue their clients literally don't remember committing crimes, while prosecutors would demand access to deleted memories as evidence. The phrase, "beyond a reasonable doubt," takes on new meaning when doubt can be surgically implanted. Jury selection becomes a memory audit process. Potential jurors would be disqualified for having too many erased memories unreliable or too many intact memories biased. The entire concept of eyewitness testimony collapses when anyone could have edited their recollection. That key witness, they might have paid to forget the traumatic event they're supposed to describe. Legal precedent would face unprecedented challenges. How do you interpret laws based on collective memory when individuals can rewrite their personal histories? Court reporters would need to become memory archivists, preserving unaltered records of proceedings. The statute of limitations gets complicated when the clock resets every time someone erases the memory of a crime. Criminal rehabilitation takes a strange turn. Instead of prison sentences, offenders might be sentenced to memory modification, forced to forget their criminal tendencies. But does deleting the memory of wrongdoing actually reform anyone, or just create blank slates primed to reoffend? The recidivism rate could either plummet or skyrocket depending on how the memory edits hold up. Civil cases would become even messier. Contract disputes would hinge on whether parties genuinely forgot their agreements or strategically erased them. Personal injury claims would require memory forensics to determine if pain and suffering was truly experienced or just conveniently remembered. The phrase, "I don't recall," transforms from a legal dodge to a potentially factual defense. Law enforcement would need entirely new tools. Police interrogations would require memory scans to verify suspects' stories. Crime scene investigators would double as memory detectives, searching for signs of tampering in witnesses' recollections. The police sketch artist's job becomes nearly impossible when eyewitness memories keep changing. The prison system would need complete overhaul. What's the point of incarceration if inmates can just erase their memories of being punished? Solitary confinement becomes meaningless when prisoners can delete the experience the moment it ends. Meanwhile, white-collar criminals might serve their entire sentences in minutes by erasing the passage of time. Legal education would focus on memory law. The bar exam would test knowledge of cognitive rights and neural privacy. Law firms would specialize in memory-related cases, with attorneys arguing over whether deleted memories constitute destruction of evidence. The most valuable lawyers become those with perfect recall, the living databases of legal precedent untouched by memory editing. At the heart of this legal chaos lies a fundamental question: can true justice exist when the past is mutable? When memories can be bought, sold, and erased at will, how do we determine truth? The justice system was built on the idea that facts are fixed and discoverable. In a world of editable memories, we might need to rebuild our concept of justice from the ground up, if we can remember how. The entertainment industry would face a seismic shift in a world where memories can be erased. Imagine movie studios offering first-time viewing packages, pay to forget your favorite films so you can experience them fresh again. Spoiler alerts become meaningless when you can just delete the spoilers from your mind. The phrase, "Have you seen this before?" becomes a genuine question rather than small talk. Film critics would need to disclose which movies they've memory wiped before reviewing. Box office success might depend less on quality and more on how many times people are willing to pay to forget and rewatch. The concept of a classic film changes when everyone's first viewing is technically their first viewing, no matter how many times they've actually seen it. Live performances would become surreal experiences. Theatergoers might erase memories of bad shows to preserve the magic of the stage, while performers could delete memories of flubbed lines and awkward moments. Broadway producers would offer memory insurance. If the show's terrible, they'll pay to make you forget it. The music industry would face similar challenges. Hit songs might dominate the charts not because they're good, but because people keep forgetting they're tired of them. Concert promoters would struggle when fans can erase memories of disappointing performances. The phrase, "you had to be there," becomes literal when only those who chose to remember the experience can truly appreciate it. Video game developers would need to adapt to players who can erase their progress and start fresh. Speedrunner might delete memories of failed attempts to maintain perfect focus. Multiplayer games become chaotic when opponents can't remember previous matches or strategies. The gaming community would split between memory purists, who keep every experience, and memory minimalists, who constantly reset. The publishing industry would face existential questions. Why buy new books when you can just forget and reread your favorites? Authors might struggle with readers who delete entire chapters they didn't enjoy. Book clubs would need memory waivers to ensure everyone remembers the same version of the story. Social media would become even more curated. Users might erase memories of embarrassing posts, creating a perfect online persona with no recollection of their real-life missteps. Influencers could delete memories of failed content, maintaining an illusion of constant success. The concept of going viral changes when everyone can choose to forget the viral moment. Sports fandom would take on new dimensions. Die-hard fans might erase memories of heartbreaking losses, while rivals could delete memories of their team's defeats. The phrase, "remember when," becomes meaningless when no one can agree on which memories they've kept. Sports historians would become crucial memory keepers, preserving unaltered records of games and achievements. In this new entertainment landscape, the most valuable creators might be those who can craft experiences so memorable they resist erasure. The rest of the industry would be caught in an endless cycle of creation and deletion, constantly chasing the next forgettable hit. After all, in a world where every experience can be reset, true artistry might lie in making moments worth remembering. Let's explore how memory erasure would completely transform healthcare. Imagine walking into a doctor's office where the first question isn't about your symptoms, but rather which medical traumas you'd like to forget. The waiting room magazines would be filled with ads for pain-free memory packages, erase the memory of your root canal and keep the clean bill of dental health. Medical procedures would take on a surreal quality. Surgeons could operate on patients who remember consenting but not the actual surgery. Anesthesiologists might find themselves out of work when patients simply choose to delete the entire operation from their minds. The phrase, "you'll feel a small pinch," becomes irrelevant when you can opt to forget the pinch entirely. Mental health treatment would face radical changes. Therapists would need new techniques for patients who keep deleting their breakthrough moments. The entire concept of exposure therapy collapses when patients can simply erase traumatic memories instead of processing them. Psychiatric diagnoses become moving targets as symptoms disappear and reappear based on which memories patients choose to keep. The pharmaceutical industry would be turned upside down. Why develop painkillers when patients can just forget their pain? Antidepressants might be replaced by targeted memory adjustment treatments. The side effect warnings on medication would include things like, may cause unintended memory loss, or could make you forget why you're taking this pill in the first place. Patient records would require complete overhaul. Electronic health systems would need memory tracking features to show which medical experiences patients have erased. Doctors would struggle with patients who can't remember their own medical histories but insist they've never had certain symptoms. The phrase, "have you had this before?" becomes a philosophical question rather than a medical one. Medical education would face unprecedented challenges. How do you train doctors when students can erase memories of difficult cases? Surgical residents might delete their early mistakes, losing valuable learning experiences. The Hippocratic Oath would need updates to address memory manipulation. First, do no harm to the patient's recollection of this procedure. Emergency medicine becomes particularly complicated. EMTs would need protocols for patients who've erased memories of their allergies or medical conditions. Trauma centers would have to determine whether to preserve or erase memories of accidents and injuries. The classic, "Do you know where you were and what happened?" assessment becomes meaningless when the answers can be artificially adjusted. Medical ethics committees would debate new dilemmas. Should patients be allowed to erase memories of terminal diagnoses? Is it ethical to delete memories of medical errors? How do we handle patients who want to forget their entire hospital stay but keep the positive outcomes? The line between treatment and manipulation becomes dangerously blurred. In this new medical landscape, healthcare providers might split into two camps: those who use memory erasure to ease suffering, and those who view it as a threat to genuine healing. The rest of us would be caught in the middle, never quite sure which memories are real, which are edited, and which might come back to haunt us at the worst possible moment. After all, in medicine as in life, sometimes the memories we try hardest to forget are the ones we need to remember most. Finally, let's consider the broader societal implications of memory erasure. Imagine a world where history is no longer a shared experience but a collection of personal narratives that can be edited at will. National tragedies might be collectively forgotten, while personal triumphs are endlessly preserved. The phrase, "those who forget history are doomed to repeat it," becomes terrifyingly literal when forgetting is a choice. Cultural identity would face existential challenges. Traditions and heritage could be erased as easily as personal memories. The stories passed down through generations might disappear with a single decision to forget. Museums would become more important than ever as repositories of unaltered memories, while historians would need to defend their work against a society that can rewrite its past at will. The news industry would be thrown into chaos. Breaking news becomes meaningless when viewers can choose to forget it moments later. Investigative journalism faces new obstacles when sources can erase their memories of key events. The concept of fake news takes on new dimensions when real news can be selectively forgotten. Social movements would struggle to gain traction when collective memories of injustice can be erased. Activists would need new strategies to make their messages unforgettable in the most literal sense. The phrase, "never forget," becomes a rallying cry against the temptation to delete uncomfortable truths. Personal identity would become fluid and uncertain. If you can change your memories at will, are you still the same person? The concept of self becomes a constantly shifting construct rather than a stable entity. Therapy sessions would focus less on processing memories and more on deciding which ones to keep. In this world of editable memories, the most valuable individuals might be those who choose to remember, the memory keepers who preserve both the beautiful and the painful moments that shape our shared humanity. They would become living archives, reminding us of who we are and where we've been, even when the temptation to forget is strong. As we conclude this exploration of memory erasure, we're left with more questions than answers. Would this technology be a blessing or a curse? A tool for healing or a weapon for manipulation? The truth is, we won't know until we get there, and even then, we might choose to forget. What do you think about the possibility of erasing memories at will? Could you resist the temptation to delete your most embarrassing moments? Would you choose to keep your painful experiences, knowing they've shaped who you are? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this episode of What If Horizons for more mind-bending explorations of the impossible. And remember, even if you could forget this podcast, we hope you choose to keep it in your memory banks.